Somali people really not identify with being African because growing up in Africa, being half African, I heard a lot of things about Somali people, just a lot of horrible things about Somali people. A lot of the times, though, when I would hear these things, I'd be like, you guys are just making stuff up. One of them was that Somali people thought they were superior to the rest of Africans because they had their own tectonic plate, the Somali plate, and that they didn't want to be called African, they didn't want to be a part of Africa. When I heard that, I was like, sure. Because Somalia is a part of Africa, so why would Somali people not want to identify with being African? I thought this was fake. But an alarming amount of Somali people in my comments are telling me they're not African. Apparently, there's a poem that says, we're not African, we're not Arabs, we're Somali. Which maybe I understand the sentiment behind it. It's like, we're Somali first? Sure, I get that. But denying to be African, full stop, is odd, no? No? I don't know, guys. I don't have anything against Somali people. People in my comments are like, wait till you go to Somalia. My parents loved Somalia. My parents really loved Somalia, and they love Somali people. I've only heard good things about Somali people from my parents. I I don't know what people are talking about, frankly. But the we're not African thing is weird to me. I'll say that. I'll leave it.
What's going on, family? I am Harrison. Today we are going to address this latest wave of nonsense that's been circulating online. Some folks in Somalia community, particularly certain voices in Minnesota and on social media, are sending what they call a strong message to Black Americans. And let me tell you, it's not solidarity, it is not unity, it is threat of disrespect, delusion, and deflection. They are out here telling Black Americans to fix themselves first, acting like they are the problem while conveniently ignoring their own realities. Let that sink in. Telling foundational Black Americans, descendants of the enslaved who built the weight of this entire nation with their bare hands, blood, and unshakable spirit to go create weight in Somalia, the audacity is actually wide. Black Americans, a little bit, she's telling the truth though. On one narrow point, we should have been way ahead of where we are at today. We should have been scholars of the universe by now. We have got the talent, the resilience, and the genius. But let's be clear about why we are not further ahead. Centuries of chattel slavery, followed by Jim Crow terrorism, redlining that stole generational wealth, discriminatory lending, unfunded schools in our communities, and a system that still treats us as a second class in far too many ways. We didn't start from zero. We started from discounts 1,000 while others got handouts, land grants, and GI bills that excluded us. And that's exactly what makes this criticism from certain Somalia voices so enraging and hypocritical. They forgot where they came from. They came over here and got everything for free. They did not come over with even $10,000 in their hands. Many arrived as refugees fleeing war and chaos in Somalia, and this country opened its door with welfare program, housing assistance, medicine, food stamps, and resettlement support that helped them got on their feet too. Yet now, some of them have the nerves to lecture us. So guys, I would like you to watch this video and watch what people are saying, so I am coming back for a better communication.
I genuinely dislike anything that has to do with politics and politicking, simply because what politics looks like today and what it did 20, 30 years ago is completely different. When I came to this country at the age of 10 years old, I never seen anyone discuss their political and religion views and beliefs in the school system. But right now, people are openly discussing this boldly with bigotry and with hate, especially with this new administration. It is giving people the opportunity to take their mask off to personally attack a group of people because they genuinely have that hate stored in their heart. I recently came in contact with videos created by African American women. It really bothered me because for her to make such an accusation and to repeat history was so sad to see. She said, this is a woman who have came in contact with Somali before, probably been employed by Somali, have had some sort of interaction with Somali, or have been neighbored with Somali, that all Somalis are people who live on government, who are not people that work, that are people that live in theft, and people who fraud the government and have been able to create luxury for themselves by frauding the system. And I'm like, okay, there is bad in every community and there's good in every community. So don't brush an entire community with one because you just got this information online and you're reading this and spreading this information like a freaking disease. And then now you're utilizing what the administration and what the president of this country is saying to validate your points by making claims and saying they need to investigate the Somalis in Columbus. I personally took the time to message her to say, hey, now you're talking about me. Okay, so hold your horses and let me educate you a little bit. She didn't want to hear my side of the testimony. She didn't want to hear my story because she knew it did not coincide with her beliefs, and she didn't want her audience or people that are watching her to hear or to even make a statement by someone who has lived in this country for so many years and have been able to elevate herself from nothing to something without scamming, without being unethical, without lying and cheating and stealing. And it was so baffling because I'm like, did you forget, as a black woman, as a colored woman, it was just the 1800s when this country abolished slavery. How dare you put through what was put through and onto your ancestors? How dare you make such a statement that created embarrassment, that took opportunity, stripped support and positions from people of color? How dare you make such a statement? And I was like, and to see all these people of color co-siding with her and saying she's doing great by speaking the truth, I'm like, did you really forget where you came from? Because obviously we of Somalia have not forgotten where we came from, and that's what we have been able to succeed, because when you don't forget who you are, you make the best of every opportunity. The craziest thing is, every statement she made and every false and misguided information she spread online just gagged hate, personal vendetta, and this distaste for the success of people who came to this country less than 20-30 years ago that have been able to make something of themselves, have created wealth for themselves and their generation and their next generation to come. Because you who were born in this country haven't been able to capitalize the opportunity, and you're so lazy and you couldn't understand how important it was for you to take advantage of the resources and the time that was invested in you, so that people who came to this country as immigrants like myself took that opportunity and utilized it to the best of our ability to elevate ourselves. We came from nothing. We were not submitting to nothing again. We came from nothing to become something. And I'm sorry if that bothers a lot of you Americans who think something was stolen from you. No, nothing was stolen from you. The only thing is, you stole a life from yourself by sitting around and creating this hate in your heart and not finding a way to elevate your life and take these opportunities that was given to you to benefit your community members, to benefit your loved ones, and to benefit your children. I'm sorry that you feel like something was taken from you and given to us. Nothing was given to us free. We all worked hard. The Somalis produces lawyers, they produce businessmen and women, they produce political leaders, they produce religious leaders, they have community members who are active in addressing issues, helping one another. And there are people of collectiveness. There are people who do not submit to poor lifestyle, poverty. Most of us, and not most of us, all of us came from hunger. We came from places where we wouldn't even wish upon our worst enemy. So for this woman to make such a claim is so baffling, and for others to rally her and not tell her, hey, knock it off because you sound a bitter old black woman who hates the opportunity these people have been able to create for themselves because you decided not to take advantage of those services, doesn't mean that everyone is a stealer, everyone is a scammer, everyone is a fraudist. If you are someone who's never came in contact with a Somali person, I highly suggest you get to learn get to learn the community, get to learn Somalis as individuals and as collective community members, because we are people who has contributed big into this community and will continue to contribute as much as we can and for longest as we can. And mind you, Somalis don't only just reside in America, they live all over the world, and everywhere they go and everywhere they reside, they leave their footprints, they leave their profession, they leave their businesses, and they create wealth in those communities. They don't take, they add values. Of course, there are those who take unlawfully, unethically, immorally. So every community member, every community, every background of individuals have those individuals who take things that doesn't belong to them, who take things unlawfully and illegally, but that doesn't mean everyone is like that. So before you pose your judgment, or before you listen to these people who have just personal dislike for the success of others, learn the individuals that they claim to have taken everything from them and make your own judgment rather than being blindly led by someone whose heart has been hardened by jealousy, envy, and complete and obvious dislike, simply because they're seeing people come into this country prosper way faster than they are and they will ever be. With that, I hope everyone has peace and love in their heart, and then continue to spread peace and love, because obviously there's a lot little of love and a lot of hate in this world today. Bye.
You see, being a West African myself and being raised by West Africans, I was unaware of the skills that East Africans held. I was unaware that every Somali had their stats maxed when it came to speech, charisma, and deception. Silver, what the hell are you talking about? I'm talking about the Somali ancient techniques of rage bait. You see, ever since the Orange Diddler in the White House started disrespecting the Somalis within Minnesota, these people got to work rage baiting every conservative online. These people are talking about Minnesota was promised to us 3,000 years ago. They're talking about SAPAC, the Somali American Political Action Committee, to pay off politicians. They're going through the history books and identifying hidden Somali traits in our founding fathers. That's right. All of our founding fathers, they're from Somalia. And the greatest part of all of this, every conservative online is falling for it.
Let's talk numbers because facts matter. Black American wealth far exceeds Somalia wealth, both in the diaspora and back home. Foundational Black Americans have built businesses, institutions, cultural empires, and generational contribution, despite every obstacle thrown at them. Meanwhile, a report shows extremely high welfare dependency rates among Somalia immigrant households. In places like Minnesota, with some studies citing figures as high as 81 to 89% for households with children relying on government assistance. Compare that to around 18% for Black American households on welfare. The gap is glaring, so when they come out us talking about fix yourself, the question has to be, what are they talking about? They are delusional if they think pointing fingers at Black America erases the fraud scandal, the over-reliance on taxpayer-funded system, or the facts that many in their community are still deeply dependent descendants after arriving. And funny how little these people know about Black American history. We didn't just show up yesterday. We were here building this country when Somalia was dealing with its own colonial and post-colonial struggles. We fought in every war, invented countless contributions to the science, music, culture, and technology, and we are still pushing for reparative justice. And the First Lady talk. She is avoiding fraud conversation entirely instead of addressing serious issues around welfare scandals and accountability in certain immigrant communities. It's in razor to pivot and attack Black Americans for not showing up in solidarity when it suits them. Foundational Black Americans, stand up, stay strong. We don't need lectures from people who just got here and want to climb on our backs. Why pretending we are the lazy ones? We have endured the unmanageable and we are still here innovating, creating, fighting for justice and demanding our fair share. This isn't about hating immigrants. Progressive value mean welcoming people and fighting systematic racism together. But real solidarity is a two-way street. It requires respect for the unique pen, history and contribution of foundational Black Americans, not this arrogant historical finger pointing. If you are a Black American watching this, know your words, know your history, and don't let anyone gaslight you in thinking you are the problem in a country your ancestors built. Drop your thoughts in the comments. Do you see this video device royalty raising in your feeds? Like, share, and subscribe for more on faith.